Alright, hello guys. In this video we're going to be talking about multiple topics about the upcoming pattern. We're also going to talk about yesterday's severe weather outbreak as well as some of the previous snow we've seen in the northeastern United States and as well as the snow that we could continue to see accumulate on top of that. Now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this with your friends and family if you think they will enjoy the content or if they live in the affected regions. So first things first, we're going to be looking at yesterday's severe weather that occurred. Here's the storm reports, all of the storm reports we had from yesterday. Every single red dot is a tornado report. We had 37 tornado reports, 91 wind reports, which you can see in the blue. And then we had 14 hail reports as well there in the green colors. So total reports, we had 142 severe weather reports. Very big severe weather day yesterday, and there was loss of property and loss of life, so it was a very, very bad event there. Now, talking about today's severe weather potential, in the light green colors, we have chances for just normal thunderstorms. In the green, the dark green that is, we have a marginal risk at severe weather. And then in that yellow color there for the panhandle of Florida up through portions of Georgia, we have a slight risk of severe weather for the day throughout today. Now we're about to get into our teleconnections where we're going to talk about the NAO, the AO, and the PNA, where we'll be able to see where it's going to be cold, what kind of pattern for the rest of December that they're going to be indicating, and it's going to be very exciting to take a look at that with you guys. So first things first, we're looking at our Arctic Oscillation, or the AO, and you can see we're in a negative phase, but we're going to dip a little bit positive there, or at least neutral, around the 21st through the 23rd, and that's going to lead to some, or at least help with some of the warmer temperatures we're expecting around Christmas time, and I'm going to talk more about that later on in the video. Also, you can see that it goes negative after that point around Christmas Day until about the 27th, and then it goes back to maybe neutral again. Taking a look at our NAO though, it's not too different. It's negative right now, going to pop positive right before Christmas a little bit, then negative, and then maybe back neutral again. As we take a look at our PNA though, we see that this is going to stay pretty much neutral. We're going to pop a little bit positive here in the next couple of days, and then negative a little bit, and then it's going to be pretty neutral from that point on. Now, we're taking a look at the 24-hour snowfall accumulation analysis, and really what this is the amount of snow that's fallen in the past 24 hours, basically. So we can see where there's been snowfall from the southern Rockies through Kansas, Missouri, in through Illinois, Indiana, into northern Ohio, northern Pennsylvania, and upstate New York. And we're starting to see that snowfall for New England by this point as well, which is only going to continue, as in a second we're going to start talking about the potential new accumulation that we're going to see on top of that. We're going to take a look at some of the model runs for the total snowfall that we're expecting beyond this point after what's already fallen for areas like New England and upstate New York. So let's get right into that. As you can see, this is our NAM 12KM's accumulation or accumulated positive snow depth change, and really what this is it takes into account rain, mix, sleet. This is just the snow that's going to accumulate on the ground. We see just to the north of that Massachusetts border is where this model wants to have most of the snowfall. We see those purple colors up there, and that's where we're really seeing the chance for 3 to 6 inches of snow within those purple regions. The lighter blue shades is really where we're looking at about 2 to 3 inches, and in the darker shades, that's probably closer to about a dusting. So this is our total snow that we're expecting through the rest of this storm, which I believe we're calling Finley now. So the winter storm Finley, the rest of the snowfall. Once this is done, we'll be done with Winter Storm Finley, and we'll be looking beyond to newer storms, obviously. Now, here's the current look at the HRRR, which is the High Resolution Rapid Refresh model, and really what we're seeing here is this is right around now, actually, and this is going to be the simulated radar. I wanted to show this because we see those purples and pinks there for Connecticut, Rhode Island, northern New Jersey, northern Pennsylvania, but right to the north of it is where we see the heaviest snow going on with the potential for some mixing, but really that is where we're seeing the heaviest snow currently, and that's going to lead to the most accumulations being right around that area. I know the NAM 12KM model did show the snow being a little bit further north, but I'm pretty sure, and you probably saw my video yesterday, I'm calling for the most snow to be right there on the borders of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, and it looks like that's pretty much playing out the way I expected it to. So as far as my forecast yesterday, I think that it's going to do very, very well, and I'm still pretty much thinking the same thing even a day later. Obviously, the storm's already underway, so I can't really update that forecast, but I am happy with the results so far. Now, we're about to start talking about some areas in the Pacific Northwest where we're going to start to see some heavy snow move onshore, and it's going to last days and days and days. We'll also talk about how much snowfall total you could expect to accumulate in some of those areas as well. All right, so we're looking at our first frame here of the GFS model, and this is going to be kind of the late night on Wednesday night, so December 18th into 19th, and we see that moderate snow along the mountain ranges of Washington and Oregon, as well as areas inland in Oregon, so the very eastern regions of Oregon, also the mountains of California getting some pretty good snowfall. And this is just going to continue to look like this. We see storms moving onshore, and then really, obviously, the high elevations are much colder, and that's going to lead to snowfall with these heavy accumulation events, and this is pretty typical for the wintertime. As you can see, as we head towards Thursday evening, so December 19th evening, we see the areas in Oregon really start to warm up and switch to snow, but Washington, we're still snow, and then we see that snow really move into Idaho and Montana, actually, for the most part. We see a lot of snowfall going on for those areas. And again, this is going to be a multiple day event. So let's move on another frame towards Friday night, so December 20th evening, and we still see Washington, northern Idaho, and areas in the Rocky Mountains in Montana still receiving moderate to heavy snowfall. This is going to lead to just extreme amounts of accumulation in high elevation areas. Not a lot of people live there, but I am going to talk about some of those accumulations actually as well. By the time we're at Saturday evening, it's still the same story on December 21st evening. Moderate to heavy snow there for the mountains of Washington, the mountains of Oregon, and down into the mountains of California by this point. It is spotty the further south you go, but in the north in Washington, Idaho, and Montana, it's very, very consistent snowfall that's going to be going on. And then by Sunday evening, it's kind of wrapped up, but we do see California and Oregon still receiving a bit of snowfall by this point. Now, we're about to start talking about your total snowfall for this entire model run for the northwestern portion of the United States, which is going to be super exciting, where we could see over 4 feet of snow potentially in some of the mountainous regions. Very, very exciting stuff here. As you can see, this is the GFS total snowfall accumulation maps, and clearly you can see the mountains of Washington are getting the most snowfall. I see a little 48 there, and that's why I said 4 feet of snow potentially. Just extreme amounts of accumulations, and if anybody does live in that area, it would be very exciting to see pictures, but I realize that probably I don't even have any viewers that live in the mountains over there in Washington. I know it's not very populated, so obviously that's wishful thinking to think that I'd get photos sent in, but if you're going to get 4 feet of snow, make sure to DM those to me on Instagram at Direct Weather. That'd be super duper exciting to see. Now, I wanted to also show the Canadian model's total snowfall forecast, but really it looks very, very similar, so there's not much different going on the Canadian model, but I did want to show a little bit of a different opinion because it does look a little bit different. Now, we're going to start talking about your overall temperature pattern for kind of the rest of December. I wanted to talk about this a little bit because it does look kind of interesting here. We're going to be dealing with colder than normal conditions, as you can see here on this map, for the northeastern United States, in the Midwest, and the southeastern United States as well. Basically from now through the 18th, 19th, and maybe even 20th, but there's going to be some big time changes as we reach kind of like 5 days before Christmas through Christmas. We're going to see a major shift in the whole thing. And I know it's disappointing to a lot of you that love cold weather because it is going to be a little bit of a switch up from how things have been. It's been warming up a little bit more frequently lately, but it looks like right around Christmas it's going to start to warm up. So let's take a look at that frame now, where we can see this is December 23rd, and we can see big time heat wave, especially for the Midwest and the central United States actually, where we're dealing with conditions over 10 degrees Celsius above average, which is very, very warm compared to normal. And it's really irritating because I'm a kind of like a Christmas cold lover myself, and obviously I don't wishcast because I'm showing you guys this right now that I think there's going to be warmer than normal conditions. But it just seems like the last few years it's really been warm right around Christmas, at least here on the East Coast. I know it's been just really, really warm. like Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, it's aggravating because I feel like it's more festive for Christmas to be cold. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it is kind of irritating. Anyway, for the northeastern United States, Southwest, Midwest, Central, and kind of into the western United States too, it's kind of a torch overall right around Christmas time for pretty much everybody except for the West Coast here, as we're still going to be having some of that snow moving onshore by this point. Very, very white Christmas, obviously, for the Northwest, as I showed you, at least the higher elevation areas. And it's going to be kind of like a wet Christmas if you're not in the mountains for those areas. It's just going to be stormy overall. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to share it with your friends and family if they do live in the affected regions, or if you think they will just find it useful or interesting. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.